Hi, good morning. There is, I believe, one more topic that I did not cover, and it's finding percent of a number. Okay, I'm sorry. Copy this in your table of contents, finding percent of a number, and I'm going to add something at the bottom here, um, because you know how to find the percent of a number, but this one you can put it in parentheses if you want here, okay? And you can write by multiplying a decimal. Okay, you can put that in parentheses. Okay, so copy that, and then let's go to the next page. Okay, so there's a simple do now. You don't need a left side today, because I want you to focus on the problems later. Okay, so for now, I want you to just go to the next page and do these two simple, very simple do nows. Okay, so and change that. It shouldn't say find the percent. Okay. Actually, you just shouldn't say anything at all because the question says what you should be doing. So find 30% of 50 and 15% of 40. Okay, so press pause, take a couple of minutes. This should be very simple to do. Okay, and press play, and we'll figure out what to do here. Okay, so here it is. What you should have done or started with was always this. 30%, they give you the percent, so that goes on top. And I'm sorry, I forgot to write the 100. That comes already in our percent proportion. Then $50, is that the total amount or part of what you have? No, well, 50% is the total amount. You use 30% of a total of $50. So 50 goes at the bottom, remember? 50 goes at the bottom and part. So you want to find out of the $50 that you had, how much did you use? And that's where I put the question mark. Now, this one is really simple. There is a relationship between 50 and 100, or in this case, we're going this way from 100 to 50. And 100 to go to 50 is divide by 2. And 30 to go that way is divide by 2, giving you 15. So the answer is 15. 30%, or I should actually write 30% of 50 is $15. Okay, so if you had $15 and you spent 30%, that means you used 15. Okay, simple enough. Let's do the second one. And again, we're going to set up our percent proportion. 100 goes at the bottom. Let's see the information that they gave us. 15%. They gave us a percent in this case, so I write 15% on top. And they gave us that you had $40 total, so 40 goes at the bottom. And you want to find how much did you use, or what 15% is. So in this case, there is no relationship between 40 and 100. Okay, you remember, you can't change this side because you're missing the top number, but guess what? You can change this guy. All right, so let's change that. We either can go up, make that fraction go higher, or go lower. In this case, I think it's easier if we go up. So I'm going to multiply 100 times 2 and 15 times 2. Whatever I do to the top, I must do to the bottom. So 100 times 2 is 200. And 15 times 2 is 30. So we have 30 over 200 equals, on the other side, 40 question mark on top. Now, there is a relationship between 40 and 200, okay? And again, we're going from 200 to 40, so we're going right to left, left to right. And 200 to go to 40, it's divided by 5. And I must do the same thing on top, 30 divided by 5, which in this case gives me 6. So 15% of 40 is $6. So if you had $40 in your pocket and you spent 15 bucks, it means that you spent 6 bucks. Okay, so two simple problems here where you one on the left side, you didn't have to change the ratio here. It was nice and easy. This one you had to go 1 up or times 2. Okay, so that there was a relation at the bottom. Okay, so simple enough. Next page. Oh, all right. So let's review a little bit what 25% of 100 means. So let me take a second here. And 25% out of 100. As a fraction, how would you write that? Okay, so 25 out of 25% of 100 would be 25 over 100. Or if you simplify that, divide top and bottom by 25, you get 1/4. Okay. As a decimal, what's 1/4? Well, 1/4 of the decimal is 0.25. All right, so here I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to use this, the top one. That's 1/4. That's a half. I'm sorry, I'm going to use 2/4, which is the same thing as a half. This is 3/4, and obviously that's 4/4. Okay. Um, decimal. So pretend for a second that 100 means, okay, 100 pennies. This would be 0 pennies. This would be a quarter, or 25 cents. This would be 50 cents. This would be 75 cents. And this would be 1, or in this case, let's imagine 100 pennies. Okay, so 25% of 100. You can tell it would be this shaded part. Okay. Another way that I should have said something is 25% is 25 out of 100, which is 1/4. Or how do we change a percent to a decimal? So I'm going to do that on the top. So a percent to a decimal. So if I had 25% and you were asked to change it to a decimal, step 1 would be A, eliminate the percent sign. B, there is a decimal, and I'm going to write that number again. There's a decimal here. Although we don't see it, it's on the right side. It's always going to be on the right side when you don't see it. And the step was to move the decimal 1, 2 places to the left. Okay, so that's your new spot. So the new spot of the decimal will be here, and you write the number down. And that's what we have here. Okay? So, one second. One second. I don't know if I want you guys to do this page. 70%, 75. You know what? It's the same two questions that to do now. Why not? I wrote it down. Okay, so let's take a couple of minutes and do this. Press pause. Come back. Okay. So here we go. I don't want to take too much time because this is the easiest one. So it's 100 here. 60 goes on top. And 200. Easy. There's a relationship here. 100 to 200 is times 2. So it should be times 2. So Tina used $120. That's her answer. Okay, that's what she used. So 60% of 200. So if she had an allowance of $200 and she used 60%, it meant that she used 120. On the other side, let's see, 100 again, and on top 70%. And then this time she had $75, and we want to use find out how much of that did she use. There is no relationship here. Okay, so let's see what we can do. So can I divide this by 2? Is it going to help me? No. Ooh. Gee, this one's a la. No, times 3. That works. So times 3 and times 3. I'll show you in a second. So 100 times 3 is 300. 70 times 3 is 210. And then here that stays 75, and the question mark stays on top. 75 goes into 300 4 times, because 75 times 4 is 300. Okay, 75 plus 75 is 150, plus another 75 is 225, and finally 300. So there is a relationship here. Whew. All right, so 375, if going this way was times 4, obviously going backwards, divided by 4. And on top, it would be 210 divided by 4, and that would give you 52.5. And I don't know why it's not writing, but it's not okay. Stop moving. Oh, okay, 52. Wow. Sorry, let me erase that. So the answer to that would be $52.50. So $52.5, which is 52. Okay. So if Tina had $75, that would be how much she used, $52.50. Okay, so the point of the little mini lesson today is what happens when you have a ratio that you can't change, that going up or down is not really going to help you. So copy this for a second. Copy, press pause, copy, come back, and let me set it up like we would normally would. So 46%, well, 100 goes here, 46 over here, and you have $88. So you have $88 and you spend $46. 46%, I'm sorry. How much would that be? All right, listen. Is there a relationship? Can I find one? You know what? Honestly, I can. I can make this times 88 and make the bottom 8,800. And then I multiply this by 88, and I would have to multiply the top by 88, which would give me 4,000. I'm sorry, which gives me 4,000. Okay, please stop moving. 4,048. And then here I would write 88. So I could find a relationship here. Okay, I did. But I don't want you to do that because some numbers are going to get ugly. So ignoring that part, on this side here, we're going to do something different. 46% of 88. Okay, so this problem I'm going to do, and just going to copy, then we'll write the procedure on the next page. What I'm going to do here is you're going to have to realize that of in math means multiply. Okay, so this number 88 doesn't change, but the percent will change. You can never multiply a number that is in percent format. You gotta change that to either a fraction or change it to a decimal. My suggestion is to change the 46% to a decimal. Okay, so how do we change 46% to a decimal? You eliminate the percent sign, and then you move the decimal that's right here 2 spaces to the left. So 46% as a decimal ends up being 0.46. And step 2 would be to multiply 0.46 times 88, and that would give you 40.48. So whatever this is, 46% of 88. So if you had $88 and you spent 46%, that means that you spent $40.48 cents. Okay? Easy? Very, very simple. Okay, so let's copy what's on the next page. Procedure. Okay, so A1, I should say, change the percent to a decimal to multiply the decimal with the other number. It's that simple. This is when, I guess, you won't use, this is a procedure that you will use when you can't use a percent proportion. Okay, so here is the question on the left. Copy that. 23%. The percent we want to change to a decimal. The of we want to change to multiplication. And the 80, nothing happens to the 80. That stays the same. So we're basically changing this expression, this mathematical, just word expression, into a mathematical expression. So we change it. So change to a decimal becomes at the bottom 0.23. Of means multiply. And that's basically what it is. And the answer to that would be 18.4. Okay, so 23% of 80 is 18.4. Okay, let's try a few examples. And again, I want all this in your notebooks. So, take 2 seconds, press the pause button, try to do this on your own. And then press play when everyone's ready. And we'll go over it. So 13% of 89. Okay, I'm going to do it right under. Change 13% to a decimal. Becomes, move the decimal, which is right here. I'm moving 1, 2 to the left and becomes 0.13. Of means multiply. And the 89 stays the same. So you're going to multiply 0.13 times 89. I'm actually going to do this on the side. 0.13 times 89. Okay. 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 2, which makes it 11. 8 times 3. Okay, remember you add a 0 here. Okay, because you're moving one space. You're going to start here. 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 2. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. When you add this up, you get 7, 5, 1, 1. You're not done. You have to go here on the top and find how many decimal places we have in total. There's 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places. There's nothing on these 2 numbers. So there's a total of 2 decimal places among the 2 factors here that we were multiplying. So my answer has to have 2 decimal places. So by putting a decimal here, I have 1, 2 decimal places, which is the same number of decimal places that I have on top. Final answer, 11.57. Okay? Next one. Tina got 5 out of 42 on their test. What percentage did she get? Okay. So, if you press pause, okay, if you did this, okay, in this particular question, we're missing the percent. So this is where the question mark goes. And again, there is no relationship here, but you can change the 5 and over 42. You can't change the question mark over 100. But you can change the 5 over 50. You could have changed that to 4,200. Multiply that by 100, and the top one would be 500. And done your problem to find the percentage. Okay, there's a relationship here, and you would do that the same. Or 5 out of 42 on a test. If you have a 5 out of 42 on a test, the easiest way to do this is to divide. So you're dividing 5 divided by 42. 42 does not go into 5, so you add a 0, add a decimal, add another 0. 5 goes into 42 once. I'm sorry, 42 goes into 50 once. Subtract, you get an 80. And 42 goes into 82 times. No, 1 time again, which is 42. You get another 8. Now you get a 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 4 is 38. And then 42 goes into 380. Oh, gee. 42 times, I would say 8. No. 42 times 9. Yeah, it goes about 9 times. So I'm going to stop there. Okay, which is 378. By the way, there's no point of going this. So your decimal, okay, what percent did she get? Well, as a decimal, it looks like 0.119, and it continues on, but we stopped. Remember, in my class at least, we want to round this to the nearest hundredth, which is right here. We want to stop right there. Okay, so this would be 0.9. Remember, it's going to make that 1 change to a 2. 5 or more, let it score, so it becomes 0.12. Why do we do this problem? I have no idea, but we just did it. Let's skip this one because it's not really dealing with what I thought it was supposed to be dealing. So let's skip this one. Okay. And so again, let's do this problem. Lisa spent 15.5% of $85. So at the bottom, I'm going to do what we wrote as our procedure. Step 1, 15.5%, that gets changed to a decimal. This gets changed. This one stays the same. So of means multiplication. Now, let me do 15.5 on the side here. 15.5%. There's a decimal somewhere here. Okay, so step 1, eliminate the percent sign. Step 2, move the decimal 2 spaces to the left. So that's my new decimal. So to clean that up, it becomes 0.155. So as a decimal, 15.5% is 0.155. 85 stays the same. Now you're going to multiply, and you're going to get 13.175. Okay? So that's basically it. There's not much else to it. You're going to get another sheet, and I want you to practice what you just saw on the screen. Okay? And that's about it. Okay? So I'll put this video up on the class website, and if you have, you can review it again. And that's about. Hang on a second. Let's do this one. I'm sorry. I do want to do this one. So Tony won 9 out of 23 fights. What percent of fights did he win? Did he get? Did he win, I should say. So let's cross that out. I should say win. Okay, so quickly do this one. So you want to find the percentage. Okay, 9 out of 23. I'm going to take the 9 and press pause. Obviously, I'm just going to set it up. Okay. Okay. So if you did divide, I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to write what you should have gotten on top. 0.391, and it goes on forever. So 9 over 23 is 0.391, and it goes on with other numbers. We're not interested in going too far, but I would have asked you to stop here and to round to the nearest hundreds, which means this is as far as you go. So before you stop at the 9, you have to ask yourself, is that 9 going to change? Well, you look at the next number, which is a 1. Is the 1 going to influence the 9 in any way? So 4 less, let it rest. So in this case, the 9 stays at 9. So 9 out of 23 fights means as a decimal 0.39, which we now, and I forgot, this is the part that I forgot, is change this to a percent. So to change a decimal to a percent, it's backwards. You're going to the right, so you're moving this decimal 2 spaces to the right, and it becomes 39 with a dot at the end, okay, with a decimal at the end, and we add the percent sign, or just to make it even prettier, without the decimal, or 39%. And going back to that page, this one, what percent did he get? So here, 0.12, I'm not done. We move again the decimal 2 spaces to the right, and we go 1, 2, and that becomes 12%. Okay, and that's what I wanted to do. All right, like I said, it will be on the site, class website, if you need to look at this. And I want you to do the sheets or the handouts you're going to get. All right, that's it.